Today I'm answering your wrestling questions. Well, that's a lie. These aren't all wrestling questions. These are questions about just about everything. In fact, in the YouTube community tab, I asked you to ask me some questions for this video. In fact, I'm probably going to turn this into a monthly series, the Santi's Mailbag or something like that. I'm not very creative with this stuff. By the way, Happy New Year. Hopefully you got to spend it with some friends, family, loved ones, and if you didn't, if you're just by yourself, hopefully you had a nice cozy night in. And I want to thank you for being here already in 2024. I cannot wait to see what we do as a community. If you stuck with me all through 2023, thank you. Just wait and see what we do for 2024 though. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Hell, we did it all through 2023 and we're gonna do it all through 2024. Nothing changes, so get on board, baby. All right, let's jump into it. Did you ever see yourself getting this far? How has starting a channel changed your life for you and your family? The short answer is no, it was never in my life bingo card to become a wrestling content creator on a full-time basis. Before all this, I had a pretty normal dude job working in the tech industry on a 9-to-5 job. It was never anything that I was passionate about, but it was a good job and it paid the bills and I was probably gonna be there for the rest of my life. So when all of this blew up, I instantly jumped on the opportunity to try and do this on a full-time basis. One, because this is a bit of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Once in a lifetime, I hear voices in the air. And two, because I can always just go back to the regular 9-to-5 life whenever I want to. However, this just has continued to grow and it doesn't seem to be stopping. So I'm gonna be doing this as long as the world allows me to do this. But yeah, no, in no world did I ever think that I would make it this far. In terms of like what's changed, honestly, not a heck of a whole lot. I'm a pretty grounded individual. I don't let online popularity get to my head. Like once the cameras are off, when I'm not making videos, when I'm not streaming, I'm just a regular dude named Santiago. I think that the biggest change has been the flexibility that I now have to be able to work from anywhere, any place. You saw it when I was in Portugal, where I was on vacation and I was still posting daily videos. Like that's a pretty cool thing to be able to do, to still be able to make a living when you're somewhere else on the opposite side of the globe, not in front of your equipment. But to do that, it takes a certain level of obsession that I have with all of this because I truly do genuinely love doing this. You've interviewed Hulk Hogan. You've been on a CM Punk reaction vignette. There have been fans that bring signs in support of you at WWE shows. You have accomplished so much in such a short period of time. Is there an ultimate goal with doing collaborations with WWE for you? This is gonna shock you, but no, I have no interest in working with any wrestling company, whether it's AEW, WWE, New Japan. I like my independent status because it allows me to talk about wrestling in the way that I want to talk about it. I like not having an agenda. I like being able to tell you what I love. I like being able to tell you what I hate. I like being able to tell you what I thought was stupid. I like this freedom to be able to talk freely and be as genuine as I possibly can with you. And working with any of those organizations really is going to take that authenticity away and you're going to get a corporate shill Santi. As a fellow fan of NXT Black and Gold, who is your favorite wrestler from that era and why? Also, Happy New Year's from the Philippines. Listen, okay, this was before all of the stuff broke out. This is before he became public enemy #1. But for a really long time, my favorite NXT superstar was the Velveteen Dream. I just thought that he was fantastic in the ring. I just thought that he had this charisma about him and he was just such a unique, different character that we didn't see in the landscape of WWE today when everybody for the most part was trying to be this realistic badass. We had this crazy dude that had just a larger than life persona and look about him that just stood out. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just change my answer to Adam Cole now. If you don't know the Velveteen Dream stuff, just Google it, okay? Would you ever branch away from wrestling content? I feel like you have the potential to be an amazing commentary channel on a variety of different subjects. You have sound takes. Thoughts for the future? I mean, maybe, but I gotta be honest with you. I think what works for me in professional wrestling is that I'm pretty knowledgeable about it, but I'm also like deeply passionate about this topic. Like I'm an individual that is constantly trying to bring other people that have never given professional wrestling a chance into the fold so that they just give it an opportunity so that they also realize that wrestling is cool. I like other things. I like sports. I like video games. I like fitness, but none of those things do I have like the same passion and drive as I do for professional wrestling. So maybe one day, but as of right now, like I'm fully into the world of professional wrestling, and that's where I'm going to continue to be focused on. The one thing with wrestling that might change is that I might potentially do some stuff with some wrestling video games. Just kind of look out for that in the future, okay? Here's a super basic one. Who do you think should be pushed the most when it comes to WWE superstars? Males and females answers if you can. When it comes to males, I want to see the continued dead push of Chad Gable. Not sure where it went. It just sort of disappeared, but I'd like to see this resurface in 2024, whether it's maybe with a world title opportunity here or there, some more intercontinental championship opportunities. Maybe they give him some gold. I just think that we finally got to see a glimpse of how good he is as an in-ring worker and as a character worker, and they all of a sudden just put a halt into that. So I'd like in 2024 for that push to be revived. When it comes to the women, I'd love to see Chelsea Green get this massive push in 2024 or 2025. I know that she isn't necessarily the most dangerous in-ring presence out there, especially in a main event scene that has the likes of Rhea, Charlotte, and other monsters in the division. However, I feel like she can play this really awesome snively heel role that can be a world champion in that division because of all the things that she's willing to do in order to stay at the top of the mountain. So Chelsea Green and Chad Gable. How hard is it to daily upload, stream on Twitch, and do the other stuff at the same time? I'll be honest with you, very hard. I do not recommend this sort of lifestyle, this sort of schedule for anyone that's starting to get into the world of content creation, whether it's wrestling content creation or something else. Just don't try and follow what I do. You will burn your eyeballs off. I am obsessed with this. You shouldn't be like me. I literally think about this almost on a 24/7 basis. I'm always thinking of what to do next. I'm always thinking, what's the next video? What's the next stream? And that's just not a healthy way to live, okay? Just don't try and emulate me. This shit is hard the way that I do it, but I'm just so obsessed and crazy that I make it look easy, maybe? What announced premium live event for 2024 are you most anticipating? And what matches will you hope to see on those cards? Look, I'm a bit of a basic bitch. I'm excited to see Backlash in France. Not necessarily for any of the matches. I just want to see what the French crowd is like. We've seen all these international crowds just take over shows and make them significantly much better than they are on paper because the crowd just adds this unique energy that we're not used to seeing on Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. I don't know what the French crowd is like. I'm just excited to see what they do. In terms of matches, like I said, I don't really care. I think that they could put on just about any single card, and I'm going to be excited to see just because of that French crowd. What's that one dream match that you wish could have happened? I guess this is more in the context of WWE. This is an easy one. For me, it's The Rock and Shawn Michaels. Too bad that never happened. Who is the wrestler that you really hated but then really grew on you? For me, it's The Miz. I couldn't stand The Miz in the late 2000s, in the early 2010s, but the more and more that I got exposed to The Miz, the more I realized that this guy is very good at everything that he does. So, The Miz. A simple question, but what are your top 5 video games? Jesus Christ. Okay, to encapsulate this in 5, I'm not going to give you an order. I will go The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid. I mean, I could say the whole series, but if I have to pick one of the games, I'll go with Metal Gear Solid 1. Portal 2, I think, is just a wonderful puzzle game. I love the Resident Evil franchise, and believe it or not, I love one of the modern ones the most. Resident Evil 7 to me is one of my favorite horror games of all time. And then I'll go with a bit of a bro answer, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. That thing was like a moment in time. Like, so much of my personality is based on Call of Duty. Hey, I'm just pausing this video to let you know about patreon.com/SantiZap, where we are going ham in 2024 with it. We're going to be doing Raw Review, SmackDown, and NXT reviews there throughout the entire year. We are also going to be getting the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early and some extra content that I'm going to be working on here that you will only see on Patreon. So go ahead, check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. It's the link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. Yes, the pinned comment, that one. Just go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. Okay, back to the video. Sorry for stopping. Who do you think will either return or debut by the end of the year? I think that she absolutely needs to come back to the WWE. I think it's the best place for her in terms of like a solid ready-made division that could continue to propel her to the top. And that's the WWE women's division. Give me Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Like, if I'm her, I'm just seeing the landscape of women's professional wrestling, and I would prefer to go to the WWE. What is the meaning of your channel name? It's like my first and last name. That's it. Like just a short form of my first name, short form of my last name. That's it. There's nothing special. It just sounds cool. Santi's have, and it looks cool on shirts. What would be your biggest WWE versus AEW dream match? I'll just keep it simple. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins. I think that match would be so good that it would collectively melt everyone's faces across the globe. What is your favorite pay-per-view or premium live event of all time? This is definitely nostalgia goggles talking, but it is in its own right an objectively very good pay-per-view. But for me, it's the very first pay-per-view that I ever watched, SummerSlam 2002, Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for the WWE Undisputed Championship. It also gave us the amazing Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Like that match card is actually insanely stacked. Go back and watch it. It's a friggin' gem. What is your personal criteria for a good wrestling storyline? I think for me, the number one thing is that it needs to be logical. It needs to make sense. That's why I really criticize the Jimmy heel turn on Jay, because it didn't make sense logically with the motivations of the character, the I guess context of everything that was placed in front of us. It didn't make sense, which really damaged that storyline. So for me, having a basic sense of realism where things just make sense to me is like the most important thing in a wrestling storyline. And that's why the WCW days were just awful, because half of the storylines and half of the turns, actually more than half, just didn't make sense. So I think that that is the biggest criteria of a good wrestling storyline, because there's wrestling storylines that aren't for me. Like they're not like designed to make me entertained, but at the very least I can say, at least they make sense, okay? Have you ever trained to become a wrestler in the past? No, I might look like a wrestler, like I'm a pretty big dude and pretty strong as well and fairly athletic, okay? I'm also very humble, okay? I just want to put that out there. But no, this has never really crossed my mind in any way, shape, or form. I did, like, maybe as a kid wanted to do it, but as I grew older and older, I realized that there's just no freaking way I could do something like that. What is your favorite wrestling theme song of all time? Kind of similar to the Velveteen Dream situation. This guy is not particularly the best, but I adore the Alberto Del Rio theme. I think it fits his character so well. It fit the fact that he was like this aristocrat that was so rich that would come out with his cars, his Rolls Royces, his own personal ring announcer. I think as a character, that's the best entrance theme that could fit somebody. Same with Kurt Angle's entrance theme as well. I do also routinely listen to Bobby Lashley's entrance theme whenever I'm at the gym. If you could go back in time and pick one WWE superstar that never got a proper main event push and give it to them, who would it be and why, and how would you do it? For me, this is an easy one. I would definitely go with Shelton Benjamin. I feel like he's one of the most underrated WWE superstars of all time that just never really got an opportunity to do his thing in a main event stage, because anytime he got to do his thing in the mid-card stage, he was always the best thing on television. Why though? Ooh. Sorry for the Simon Miller reference. I can't help myself, okay? It's just such a cool thing that he does with the Y and then slapping his bald head. It's good stuff. But yeah, I just think he's just such a great worker that never got that opportunity. In terms of how I would do it, just have him win one of the many Money in the Bank ladder matches that he stole the show and was the best part of it. He could have just won any of them. That's how I would have done it. How does one begin to start a wrestling channel like yours and make talking about wrestling their full-time job? First and foremost, don't go into it thinking that you're going to turn this into a full-time job, because it's just a very rare accomplishment to be able to do. It's just not a viable life goal to try and strive for. You should do this for fun. You should do this because you're passionate about professional wrestling, and hope and pray, cross your fingers, that it gets popular enough that maybe you can do it as a full-time job. But you should be going into it with the mentality that this is going to yield nothing and that you're there to just have fun and connect with other wrestling geeks like yourself. In terms of how you would start. That's the thing. Just start making videos. In terms of equipment, in terms of personalities, all this stuff, don't even worry about it. Just start. Do you prefer to go to house shows or TV shows, and why? This isn't even close. House shows are so much better than TV shows, especially if you're there live, because if you are there for a TV show like Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Collision, whatever it might be, when you're a fan in the audience, you are a prop to everything that's happening there. You are a prop to the production in order to help entertain the people that are watching at home. So you're sometimes just kind of sitting there watching promos where they're facing the opposite direction because they're looking at the camera, so they're not even talking to you. You're waiting for commercial breaks breaks to come back. There's all of these awkward pauses. Meanwhile, if you're at a house show, if a wrestler is going to cut a promo, he talks to every single side because there's no cameras to look at. They're there to entertain you because you're not a prop. You're the audience that they're there to entertain. And they usually tend to have a lot more fun and do goofier, more wacky, crazy stuff at house shows than they would ever do on television. So I'm telling you, house shows, and it's not even close. Who is that one wrestler that everyone loved but never did it for you? This is going to catch me so much flack. I never got Jeff Hardy. I never did. No, I couldn't. Who do you think would be a breakout superstar of the year in 2024? I'm going to give that to Chelsea Green. I think that the path is set up for her. I think she's going to be the breakout superstar of 2024. Why do you never include the NXT Heritage Cup in your videos? Damn it. I was hoping no one would ever notice. I just hate the Heritage Cup. I hate the rules. I hate the fact that it's not a title. I hate the fact that it's a cup that somebody's carrying around. I just hate it, okay? But yes, I do purposely always leave them out of my videos. How's life been, man? Thanks for asking. It's been really awesome, and it's mostly because of all of you guys, so thank you. What do you say to someone who says that wrestling is just fake? Yeah, I think we all go through this at some point or another, as if like we're so dumb that we don't know that wrestling is fake. I usually just always turn it around on them and ask them, well, what's your favorite show? And more often than not, they're going to say something like, oh, I like Dexter, I like Breaking Bad, I like Game of Thrones. And I always just remind them, are you aware that that is also fake? That is a work of fiction. Walter White is not a real human. There was no chemistry teacher in New Mexico that ended up becoming a billionaire methamphetamine kingpin. I mean, maybe there was, I don't know, but not Walter White. That's fiction. That's fake. Jesse, we have to cook. Jesse. I do like Breaking Bad, but I also, one of my biggest pet peeves is to try and put down other people's hobbies because you feel like they're inferior in some way, shape, or form. I always find that to be the case with people that bring to me that wrestling is fake. I don't feel like they're trying to say it to me in a method of like trying to inform me, trying to enlighten me, to try and get me to see the light that wrestling is fake. They always come from a point of view of like arrogance that my hobby is somehow lesser than theirs because it's scripted. So I never really treat those people very nicely. I always just clap right back at them. I don't say, oh, I know, but no. Fuck you. I know wrestling is fake, and so is your stupid ass show. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. Can't wait to do this next month, and can't wait to see you here for daily videos in 2024. That's it. I'm done. And here's the first get out of here of the year. Get out of here.